Now this is going to be a super fun video to make, not only because one of my favorite higher yielding ETFs, known as ticker symbol QQQI, the NEOS Nasdaq 100 high income ETF, an ETF that I've been buying for a while now, and like I made it clear, I want to buy a lot throughout this year. This ETF, as of right now, has officially been trading for just over 1 year, which is awesome because now we have an entire year of not only distributions to look at, but really total performance and to see exactly what this ETF has done so far. Now, along with that, just as of recently, when it comes to this ETF specifically, which honestly shows the power of an ETF like this one, for example, and shows investors with how a relatively small amount of money, you could honestly retire off an ETF like this one probably easier than you think. So in this video, we're going to backtest the NEOS Nasdaq 100 high income ETF, go over how this ETF has actually performed during its first year of trading, and then later on in the video, share with you guys the crazy math I came across. So if you're a dividend income focused investor looking to build a lot of dividend income ASAP, I promise you're going to want to stick around. So if this type of thing interests you at all, make sure to drop a like down below, subscribe, and let's get right into it. What if building a high quality portfolio that offers massive growth but also capital appreciation was as easy as purchasing just a couple of ETFs? Well, the good news is it actually is that easy and should be something that every especially newer dividend investor takes very seriously when they're getting started. Now, building out and monitoring your stock portfolio, whether it's full of different stocks and or ETFs, has never been easier thanks to Snowball Analytics, which is truly an all-in-one investing tool. Now, Snowball Analytics features a custom portfolio builder where you can connect Snowball Analytics automatically to your trading brokerage, and or of course create portfolios that could at least potentially match exactly what you're looking for. You can also of course do deep dives into any different stock or ETF instantly and get all the important data that you would ever need, such as things like dividend history, dividend growth rate, or even what holdings make up a specific ETF. Now, one of the coolest features in my opinion is the dividend calendar to see exactly when your next payouts are going to be happening, which as you guys know as dividend investors can be very crucial for your investing strategy. Now, if this interests you at all, I have great news for you guys. You can get started today with Snowball Analytics for free. It's the first link down below in my description. Now let's get back to the video. Now again, this ETF as of filming this video has been trading for just over 1 year. And although that's not necessarily a massive amount of time to be trading, it still is an accomplishment, especially because as of right now in the market, it feels like there's a new ETF with a crazy strategy that's popping up almost every other day. And although just because an ETF or a stock for that matter has been trading for let's say 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years, it doesn't really necessarily make it any better or worse. The only thing that makes it maybe better is that now we have some more historical data to go off of, but of course historical data does not indicate future performance. Now, as of recently, I have been talking a little bit more about some of these higher yielding ETFs like QQQI, for example. And this is simply because, as a lot of you guys know, I'm trying to build a portfolio that's going to pay me north of $8,500 per month. And I'm trying to do so sometime throughout this year. Now, maybe some investors have enough money to buy things like SCHD or maybe VU and reach a goal like that, but I definitely don't. So I'm going to need to continue to dip into some of these higher yielding names if I want to have a chance to reach the goal of say $8,500 per month. Now, as of right now in my portfolio, I'm currently earning around $7,700 per month in dividends. On average, that is, and again, some of these numbers are going to go up over the next year because of dividend increases, but that's more or less where we're sitting at. Now, in my entire portfolio, as you can see, I still have tons of individual stocks that I'm holding on to. Take my almost 3,000 shares of Realty Income stock or my 1,001 shares Apple stock. So I by no means am just a high income focused investor, although there's nothing wrong with that. And honestly, that strategy over time is sort of growing on me. But because I do want to raise my income significantly over the next year or so, it is going to be very, very important to continue to buy names like the NEOS ETFs if I want to have a chance at reaching my goal. Now, before I share with you guys the math that I recently came across when it comes to this ETF specifically and how easy it is to generate a massive amount of income with investing into something like this, for those of you guys that don't know, this ETF strategy is to generate high monthly income by investing in the constituents of the NASDAQ 100 index and implementing a data-driven call option strategy. Now, this fund is also actively managed by NEOS, and it tries to be as tax-friendly, tax-efficient as possible. Now, this fund also is going to have some potential upside along with that massive income, which for QQQI, for example, we're talking 14%, which is huge. And this is because at times this ETF is going to sell and buy NDX index options. Now, although this ETF might grow over time, the main investment objective, as you can see right here, is that it seeks to generate high monthly income in a tax-efficient manner with also the potential for upside equity appreciation. Now, in the first year of trading, the NEOS Nasdaq 100 High Income ETF has just shy of $1 billion in net assets, which is very impressive again considering this ETF is just around a year old. The performance of this ETF since inception, basically over the last year, we're talking around 22%, which is not bad whatsoever, and basically is trailing right along with the underlying index. Now, for investors that want more NASDAQ 100 exposure like myself, I mean, as a long-term investor, I just personally want a lot of S&P and NASDAQ 100 exposure in my personal portfolio. For investors like us, there's lots of different awesome covered call style, high income style ETFs across the markets that can give you that exposure, but do so through a high income strategy. Now, speaking of high income, this ETF over time since inception has paid just around an average around 61, 62 cents more or less every single month, which has been outstanding. Now, that brings me into this crazy math that I came across as of recent. It says to earn $3,000 per month with ticker symbol QQQI ETF, you would need to own around 5,000 shares of this ETF. Let me repeat that. To earn $3,000 per month, probably enough to pay your rent, probably enough to even pay a mortgage, you would need just 5,000 shares, which would cost around $265,000 as of right now. Now, I get it before you say, well, $265,000 is a massive amount of money. It really is. But to get to the point to where you have $3,000 of consistent cash flow coming in, $265K is not honestly crazy. Now, I also say that because on the other hand, if you wanted to buy something like SCHD ETF, for example, and this is another one of my favorites, I'm sure if you guys are subscribed, which you should be, you guys already know that. If you wanted to reach, say, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month in dividends with SCHD, over the long term, because of the massive dividend growth and reinvesting those dividends, it's definitely also very doable. But if you want to do so right off the bat, you're going to have to invest double, triple, quadruple that, and that's just comparing it to something like this one. Now, long term in the future, I do think that names like SCHD or other dividend growth names are very important to have in a portfolio also, and that's just because if and when that dividend growth grows and grows and grows over time, your dividend income and portfolio can also grow with it. But as far as dividend investors like myself that are looking to stack a massive amount of income into their portfolio within a relatively short time frame and do so rather cash efficiently. Now, we talked about the fact that QQQI, the NASDAQ 100 high income ETF, has been trading for just over a year now. I shared with you guys the performance of the ETF and the fact that this ETF is helping me reach my income goals, and hopefully will continue to do so over the next year. But lastly, looking into the performance as far as price return goes, especially for an ETF that yields 14% as of right now, more or less, which of course that can change in the future. The ETF over the max time frame, around 1 year, is up around 6.36%, which in my opinion is very impressive and also just showcases the high quality strategy that this ETF employs. Now, having an ETF that yields say 8%, 10%, or 14% and have it offer absolutely no NAV decay is something only income investors can dream of. Now, a lot of people always say, well, this sounds too good to be true. What are the downsides of investing into something like this? Well, of course, downsides are the same thing of any investment, I always say. The overall ETF can lose value, the overall ETF can go down in price, and of course, just because it's offering a certain amount of income on a monthly basis as of right now, does not mean that it's going to continue to do so forever. Which is why I always tell investors to make their own decisions, look into the target benefits of any ETF, watch videos like mine, and ask yourself, does what this ETF offers specifically match with what I'm looking for? Is it too risky? Is it not risky enough? You have to make your own decisions for your own portfolio. So now that we talked about one of my favorite higher yielding ETFs, the NASDAQ 100 high income ETF that's been trading for around a year now, I lastly, most importantly, want to hear from you guys down below. Are you currently buying this ETF for your portfolio? And if not, what other ETFs that yield say 10 to 15% are some of your favorites? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.